You're listening to Inside Real Estate with Irv Tremblay on Newstalk 980.
And we're back inside real estate with Irv Tremblay. We've been talking about for sale by owner. And Irv, you've been listing a lot of reasons why it's not a good idea to, sell your house yourself. You should get the expert advice of a real estate agent that you can trust. And one of the questions that I have, agents bringing their buyers to for sale by owners. Is that a good idea? Does that happen?
Well, it does happen. It doesn't happen enough for sale by owners, and that's why typically the numbers are that 80% plus of for sale by owners in North America end up failing, and they don't get their home sold, and they list their home.
Wow.
That's why I call them every day.
Yeah.
I call them every day because I know that the large percentage of them are going to fail, and they really need my help. And why they need my help is because I will net them more money than they will on their own after they pay me. There'd be no point in hiring me or paying me if there wasn't a financial advantage to the seller.
Of course.
So do agents bring their buyers, their good buyers, to a for sale by owner? Well, most of the time, no. And if they do bring them to the for sale by owner, often they bring them there, but then they take them to a house on the MLS system. And the reason is this, and I'm not saying anything bad about for sale by owners. I probably over the years, I've been calling for sale by owners for 19 years and listing them, and I typically list, 30 to as many as 50 a year. Mm-hmm. Typically, what happens is that agents will bring their buyers sometimes to a for sale by owner when the market is really hot and they have nothing to show. Example of this would be 2007. Early on in 2007, there was 120 homes on the entire MLS system. You have a little bit better chance of a agent bringing their buyer to you at that point because they have nothing to show.
Right.
When you have 1,600 listings in Regina and the surrounding area, those agents have all kinds of listings to show their buyers. So why would they deal with a for sale by owner?
Stands to make sense to
Sure.
me. Why would they do it?
Well, and here's the reason they don't want to do it. For sale by owners, for the most part, don't know what they're doing. They don't,
It's
and
true.
I mean that in the nicest
Yeah.
way. They read a website, they go on the internet.
They watch the reality TV shows. Yeah.
There's nothing to selling your house.
Right.
Most of the time, they haven't sold one before, or maybe they have sold one. Their pricing, as we discussed earlier in the show, can be all out of whack. For an agent to bring their buyer to a for sale by owner is a stressful experience because, first off, it's not like showing on the MLS where you're working with another agent. The agent who has the house listed has arranged easy access, has priced the house hopefully accordingly. You know what chattels are included. Your surveyor's certificate, your property condition disclosure statement are all supplemental documents that are on the system for the agents to see. Everything is in an organized way, and an agent is dealing with another agent. They have the protection of their company, the association, the commission, and so does their buyer have a lot of protection. So you get a for sale by owner that wants to attract agents to bring their buyer, and they'll often even offer them some commission. It's not an easy process, and I can tell you agents will avoid that like the plague. Mm-hmm. They really will, because to get into the house, is the price right? Do you have good disclosure statements? If you do write an offer, often it's a nightmare to explain pricing to the seller because they didn't have an agent guide them to the right price. The whole process tends to be very, very difficult for the agent. But let's not talk about the agent. Let's talk about that poor buyer.
Sure. Stressed out like crazy because they can't handle this.
Getting inspections getting inspectors into the house.
Yeah.
If you have a house listed, it's an easy process. If a for sale by owner is doing it, it is difficult, and they're not guided to be away from the house and not interfering. They don't have an agent. When that inspection comes back, if there's problems with the house, trying to negotiate with that seller is very difficult. Sellers will tell us things like this all the time. Well, I have a lawyer. Well, I can tell you lawyers are great and a great service in the legal documents.
Sure.
But they don't know about furnace
Yeah.
inspections, air-to-air exchangers. They don't know about price. They don't know about any of these things for the most part. So it's extremely stressful for an agent to bring their buyer to that property, and more stressful for the buyer. So you do negotiate, an offer, the right price, the right terms, all of that. Getting documents signed on time. Again, you don't have another agent on the other side. So as much as the for sale by owner will say, I'm looking after myself, I can tell you as an agent who has brought many offers to for sale by owners over the years, I can tell you that I end up, and I don't want to, I only want to represent my buyer, I end up doing things for that seller and only getting paid by the buyer.
So this is a little more complicated than just putting a sign on your front lawn.
Very complicated,
Yeah.
and that's why agents tend to avoid for sale by owners. And to prove this, it's very simple. People say, oh, sure, is Irv really accurate in telling us this? Well, if you look at the package that I send out to for sale by owners, it will have a list of 200 or 300 for sale by owners that I've sold in recent years. And on that list, and it's the most important thing I send out to these people to prove my point. On that list will be 200 or 300 for sale by owners. It'll show the number of days it took after they came off their great site, their advertising, their sign, and I started marketing their home. It only took an average of 34 days to sell the home, including removing all the conditions.
Wow. Wow.
So when you look at that, the proof is that after they came with me, I exposed them to the agents with the best buyers on the MLS system. It only took me 25 or 30 days to sell their house. Almost all the time, and I do check, the agent who brought that buyer was working with that buyer when these people were trying to sell on their own, but they didn't bring their buyer there until it was listed on the MLS. And that is the proof. When people say to me, oh, is that right? Well, here, look at all these sales. I'd love to say it's just Irv. I'd love to say that.
Go ahead and say it. You've got the mic.
Yeah, I'd love
Yeah.
to say that. But it's partially Irv, but it's also partially the system
Yeah.
and the agents. You're getting that exposure to the agents with the best buyers. And the best buyers, and we'll cover that off in the upcoming show, why the best buyers work with agents. And the for sale by owners usually get the poor buyers. And that's why their homes don't sell.
Some excellent advice from Irv Tremblay. Thanks for taking the time out today, Irv.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
You're listening to Inside Real Estate with Irv Tremblay of Irv Tremblay Realty, Inc. Turn the key. Call Irv today at 790-3753 and check out all the great information on Irv's website as well at irvsells.ca.
You're listening to Inside Real Estate with Irv Tremblay on Newstalk 980.